Welcome everyone here to Cologne. It is really a pleasure to host the first SRE Day in Germany. And I'm glad it's not happening in Berlin, but in Cologne. So we do have a vibrant community here. I met Mark last year in London and then in Amsterdam. And what really started as a casual conversation now turned into this. So again, welcome to Cologne. I hope you like it. I hope you like our office and just have a great time and also have some great conversations here. So we do have a minute left before I start. But nonetheless, I think we're in Germany, so we're starting on time. Okay, today I'd like to explore how AI and agents are going to change incident management, in particular incident response. Can we close those windows? And I think I'll turn on here the AC so it doesn't get too hot. Yeah, that's better. All right, yeah, today we're going to explore how AI is going to change incident response in a good way. I know there's a lot of chatter around AI and agents in particular, but I think in our case, in incident response, agents will not replace us, but empower us as SREs. I'd like to start maybe, we think we're heading to a future where you won't be paged at 3 a.m. in the morning just to resolve a routine incident. An AI agent will fully take care of incident resolution and only page you if it's not able to resolve the incident, if it gets stuck. And that's clearly a path where we think we're heading to. Are we there yet? I'd argue no. Of course, today you're going to see a glimpse of that. But we're not there yet for a few reasons, including, I would say, lack of technical capability or lack of maturity. But also, are we as humans ready to hand over such a high stakes responsibility to an agent, right? So that's probably another issue. And I'd like to show you a path to get there, and starts with an approach that works by perfectly empowering us and something that you can use today. And more importantly, this is an educational conference, right? So I'd like to show you how we've built an agent that helps SREs to do a better job. Well, let me start with a question. Who here does on-call as part of their responsibilities, current or former responsibilities? Please raise your hands. Yeah, that's about 50%. So that's exactly what I would expect from an SRE day. And next question, let's say it's in the middle of the night and you're getting paged. What's the first thing you do when there is an incident? What are the first steps you take, just in very practical terms? Again? Doing a call? Yes. Join a call, yes. So you mobilize additional responders. Yes. So that's, yes, you acknowledge alerts. And then? So you acknowledge your alert, maybe you prepared yourself a coffee and then you're joining the conference. What's next? Yes, dashboards. It's a real problem, right? Yeah. 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 If it's something that you cannot solve on your own, you then try to alert additional people, level 3. Dashboard was a good one. What else? Yeah, logs. We said logs. Yeah. Logs. So dashboard, logs, runbooks. So yeah. So determine the urgency. I think was the first answer was is it really an impactful incident? Exactly. So these are the things we usually do over and over again. Check the dashboards, check the logs. Do I have a runbook, and execute the runbook? And now picture this. So by the time you wake up, an AI has checked the logs, triaged the incident, analyzed the root cause, and suggested next actions. So by the time you open your laptop, instead of seeing this, the raw alert that you would receive from maybe the alert manager, you see this. So a very clear and actionable plan, how you can contain the incident, what actions you can apply, and what's the actual root cause. And the AI does that by just doing the same things you would also do. So it looks at the logs, it looks at metrics. And there's another thing that you always ask yourself is, what has changed? If you're in the middle of, let's say, an impactful incident, that's a service where the latencies, for example, spike, and you're like, okay, this used to work for an entire week, so what's different now? So you're looking at what has changed. Were there any deployments? Were there any new releases? And these are steps that an AI can perfectly does for you, and also like back up its reasoning through data by showing you the right logs without doing anything harmful, right? So far, it's just consulting you, and that's a perfect way to start adopting an AI agent. Why is this relevant? Why are we as a company, and our mission is to keep the world always on, right? And we do this by helping SREs to do a better job, helping DevOps engineers to do a job. And the one primary KPI that we try to improve is MTTR. It's mean time to resolution. So everything we do, we ask ourselves, okay, how does this help in reducing like MTTR? And root cause analysis is a large part of that, right? We started with just alerting, right? We started with the MTTA part of the MTTR. MTTA is getting human attention. And now we're trying to make root cause analysis. We're trying to put root cause analysis from 30 minutes down to a minute. And this contributes directly to MTTR. And why does it take so long in the first place? Because today's incident management is complex, right? So we're dealing with highly distributed systems, sometimes multi-cloud, and they generate tons of data, like just by being there, right? Okay. I'm just getting paged. A little too early, but let me acknowledge this alert. And again, because the entire world is powered through digital services, the stakes are really high. Imagine you're working at a SaaS company, a software company, and you're dealing with a high impactful incident. So your ability to resolve the incident that contributes to the reputation of the company. Is essentially the reputation of the company is on the line. And the costs like per hour can move between 50K to $500,000 for every minute of downtime or every hour of downtime. And this is where agents could be helpful. And again, we're going to show you in very practical terms how you can use agents to reduce MTTR. What is an AI agent? Everyone is talking about agents. These are software assistants powered by these large language models with the added benefit of that they are highly grounded in the context that you operate in. So if you're dealing with ChatGPT, let's say you have an alert, you can just copy paste the alert to ChatGPT, but it wouldn't help, right? Because it just uses the knowledge that it was trained on, and it might hallucinate. It still hallucinates, by the way, but it's not really relevant to you. But agents are highly grounded in the context that you operate in. And this grounding happens through additional data that we provide to the agent. And we're going to show you how exactly we're doing this. And then an agent is able to communicate their findings back to you in natural language. And if we look at the evolution of LLM apps, 3 years ago when ChatGPT was first introduced, we had a very simple architecture. We had a foundational model, and we put in some text and get some text out. And the first use case when we adopted Gen AI was to generate incidents. So let's say you have generate status page incidents. When you are dealing with an incident and you need to update your status page, that's a chore you have to do, right? When you have a public status page, but you don't want to spend too much time, and LLM is perfectly suited for that. So you just provide a few keywords, and then your status page is updated with a nice message that everyone understands, and it's professional at the same time. And then the next evolution are workflows. I mean, there are more, you can look at this in a more nuanced way, but if we look at it from a very high level perspective, our workflows are multiple LLM calls that are orchestrated by code. So you still have a single script, so to say. And in our case, this was, for example, postmortem generation. For postmortem generation, this was it was a document where we process lots of data from your war room, machine generated data. And we made multiple LLM calls, maybe even using different models for each task. And then we have a single coded application where we aggregate the results and provide you with a post-mortem document. But agents are different. Agents are provided with a goal and they make their own decision. Agents in our case are LLMs using tools in a reasoning loop. So the two most important design decisions that you can give an agent are first the tools that you equip the agent with, and tools are capabilities that you make available to the agent. So this could be an external API, this could be a document repository. It doesn't have to be like read-only, it can be also like the agent can also perform real actions. And then it has a system prompt where you provide the agent with instructions, an identity, like why do you exist? What's your goal? And then it runs in a loop until it reaches that goal, right? This is how we're building agents. And this is, I think, when everyone talks about agents, it probably boils down to something like this. And under the hood, we're using the model context protocol. Who knows what the model context protocol, or who has heard from them about model context protocols? Okay, that's almost, more than half, I would say. So this is a standard introduced by Anthropic late last year, and it serves as a standard to embed external knowledge into your LLM application. And again, the goal is here to augment the context, to provide relevant context to the AI. And other companies have also adopted the standards. It was introduced in December last year, I believe, and AI has added support for it. Google has added support for it. So it's fair to say it's a de facto industry standard to provide data, to provide access to other data sources for agents. And the model context protocol solves two problems. One is, I just briefly mentioned in the beginning, when you're just talking to ChatGPT, there's a knowledge cutoff and ChatGPT lacks context, right? So it's able to augment the context, but we could also achieve that just by using tools and function calling without the model context protocol. So the second problem the model context protocol solves is the problem of integration. So it essentially decouples the tool integration from the LLM app. So when we don't use the model context protocol, this is how our architecture looks. So every data source we're trying to integrate, we have a custom integration layer that we maintain and write on our own. But with the model context protocol, we can just reuse an existing MCP server of, let's say, I don't know, a calendar application, or in our case of Grafana, for example. And we can just embed the MCP server without having to deal with any changes here on their API and on the capabilities. Our LLM app will continue to work without us needing to make any changes, and it will continue to get better without us needing to make any changes. So that's like the main gist of the model context protocol, and it's really popular. So if you look at the time frame, like 4 months, and there are so many MCP servers, like more than thousands that were already written. So everyone is adopting this standard, and it looks like like the future for data integration for AI apps. How are we using the model context protocol? Again, our first agent is an AI responder, and this AI responder does root cause analysis, and it does root cause analysis by looking at your infrastructure. So it's equipped with access to your observability tools, to maybe your cloud infrastructure, and also to your code repository. And these are the things it needs to to compile an analysis to answer the question, okay, what caused this incident and how can I contain this incident? And the 3 things it compiles are like key findings, recommended action, and also like supporting data in terms of logs or metrics that it was able to find, and including things like creating a PR for you that fixes the bug, or making a change in your infrastructure. Of course, like no one would start doing this, right? And we as well, we recommend to provide read-only API keys. And I think the path to get there is really starting read-only by design. And because the cost of error is high, and then building trust with the AI agent, and if it works, then maybe even go as far as letting an agent fix problems. Yeah, I think this I already talked about. If you're using an AI incident responder, when an alert is triggered, the moment the alert is triggered, the agent starts its work, it's being activated and gathers context from all the sources. And then by the time you look at the alerts, you are presented with the analysis, and it's your decision either to accept or even question the findings that the agent came up with just by chatting with it. And then it can maybe update its findings just like you would do in a collaborative context. Okay, so let's turn vision into reality and see this agent in action. So first I'm going to, or let me start by showing you what I've built. So I've vibe coded this amazing to-do app. It's extremely popular and it really works well. I don't know what needs to be done. Finish the talk on time and leave time for questions. So this is my to-do app. But one request I've been getting is we need due dates. I personally don't work with due dates. Like, I finish tasks immediately. Some of them wasn't able to finish, but okay, fair enough. Before starting this talk, I prepared a commit that I'm now going to roll out to add this feature, due dates. So let's go back. Let me refresh. Yeah, due dates are there. Actually, I even didn't need to refresh. So you can see here, I have now added due dates. So looks good. Let me push those changes. And so let's go to iAlert. Let's resolve these alerts. If we look at due dates and if we select a due date, let me select, actually I need it today, the clicker. I don't have the clicker. Oh, looks like I've introduced a bug. So apparently there's something I broke. So it looked good, but it didn't work. So that means there's the alert from iAlert. Let me acknowledge the alerts. And this is so in Grafana, there is a rule that I've configured. Whenever there are too many errors in my to-do app, I would like to get a page, right? And by the time I'm opening the alerts, the AI has already started doing some work. And we can see what the AI came up with. Application errors occurred due to a database update failure. No such column due that. So apparently there's a typo in my due date. Recent deployment introduced a schema change to a due date column, but the update statement uses due that typo, causing the error. Multiple log entries show repeated failure to update the to-do due date, indicating a persistent issue affecting user functionality. And you can see here on the right what the AI did to come up with that conclusion. So it's retrieved deployment events from iAlert. So the code change that I just pushed before the alert was triggered was known to iAlert. It analyzed the logs from Loki. And apparently in this case, it even didn't, like usually then it decides on its own what to do. In this case, it even didn't check the actual code change. But let me ask a follow-up question, or maybe let's first update our status page. So these are the recommended actions by AI. Create an incident to track and resolve the production error. Typo in the database. So let's have AI generate an incident for us. So this incident is now going to be published on our status page. Because I don't have a to-do service in my status page, I'm just selecting like I'm just selecting some service. So we can see here now this will now be published on a status page. And now it's also suggesting fix the typo in the database update statement. Let me ask the AI, what exactly is the fix? How can I fix the issue? To fix the issue, you need to correct the typo in the source code where the SQL update statement is written, specifically in database TS change set due date. Okay, let's do that. So here is the typo. Thank you. Okay, let's check if it's now working. Oh, perfect. We fixed it, so we got a due date. So that's the first demo. Very basic, right? Thank you. This is my team supporting me from the back, which I really appreciate. So what the investigator did in the back is check the logs, check the deployment, and then was able to pinpoint the root cause like really quick. But let's have a look at a more complex example. So I'm going to deploy, it's actually already deployed, this app into a Kubernetes cluster. And in this cluster, this is not localhost anymore. And in this cluster, in this pod, what we're faking is a memory leak. So when I make like too many refreshes of this page, the app will die. And again, right now it's not refreshing. So it runs into a memory leak that we somehow faked into the app. And yeah, I think then we have now the second alert that comes in. Let me acknowledge real quick. This is coming directly from our Kubernetes agent. And the alert says the pod snappy to do sketch was terminated due to out of memory. And now the AI is again doing its root cause analysis, taking a little longer. And again comes up with a few key findings. Application errors indicate no such column when updating due date, causing failures in the to-do update failure. This is actually unrelated. Source code was a typo. That's unrelated too. Recent deployment introduced a change in the due date handling database. Auto log entries show normal database initialization. Yeah. So that's an example where the root cause analysis didn't work. So let's ask the AI what has the typo to do with, let's see if it's able to figure it out. So actually, we didn't see the results. We were, because the logs are still full with these update column. So let's see if the AI is able to figure it out on its own. The typo in SQL statement using due date instead of due date is the root cause, but the application error prevents it. However, this typo is not related directly to the OM killed out of memory event that caused the pod terminate. The investigation summary shows that the OM killed event and the SQL typos are separate issue. The typo leads, so on and so forth. Okay, let's ask AI to increase the memory. So let's check whether this is, okay, I've been signed out. Or maybe I just check whether the app is loading again. Yeah, apparently it has fixed the issue. I've increased the memory limit. It didn't trigger. Say again. Do it actually on the cluster, please. Now it's doing it. You got it. So one thing we're seeing, sometimes the responder just decides to answer questions based on its current context without actually moving out of its context and applying the fix on the database. So yeah, it just lies sometimes, right? So let's see if it works now. Yeah, it does. It does. I can do as many refreshes as I want. Yeah. I think refresh the pod name and check the memory. The pod has been refreshed and the current running instance is, yes, its memory request limit above set to 500. Should we ask it to revert back to 150? Yeah, please. This is my mental support and CTO, by the way, Chris Ferlingstoff, who has built most of the stuff together with his team. If you have any questions, it will also be here at the booth or in our corner. So if you would like to really have technical questions and learn more about how we built this, feel free to approach, I think, the second tallest guy or the tallest guy here in this room. I don't know, but it's Chris for sure. Did you join? Oh, this is Chris now in action. Yes, sure. I'm not sure if I understand the question. So the way how? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 So right now it's not doing it because it's not equipped with the tools. But if you equip it with the tools, like for example, you have some way of telling the agents, and again, these are where the data source, the MCP service come in and the tools come in. So if you activate the tool and that says these are the cron jobs, if it's like somehow something that you would also do, I hope the agent will also do it, right? Yeah. Hmm? Hmm? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, it's like it's not going to fetch, and this is like why our CTO is always crazy about it, like making sure everything, there are limits everywhere. So it's not going to fetch everything. There are always guardrails in place. But you're right. So right now, it's not very clear what exactly it's doing. It's just saying it's analyzing low-key, and yeah, but that's something that we will add, and we should add actually. The goal for us is making everything as transparent as possible, and so it's not a black box for you, and there are guardrails in place. So yeah. Yeah, let's maybe just check what Chris has done in the meantime. I think, are you fighting with the agent right now or no? It's yeah, okay. So right now, so I think the memory limit is now reverted back and the app crashes again. I just want to conclude the presentation and then we have a few minutes for questions. And again, during the coffee break, feel free to talk to us and to talk to also the CTO. Yeah. I think we just saw the future of incident response and where we're heading to, any path to get there, right? So we're not saying that you should let an AI agent have access to your cluster. We wouldn't do it on our own, but for sure, taking away the manual task of the boilerplate task of looking at logs, looking at changes, looking at metrics, and then correlating everything together. That's a no-brainer to me. That's a pretty, there's almost no risk attached to it. We think we're heading to a path where that's the way to start. Then as we gain more trust, then maybe, and also as the models increase in capability, and that's the good thing, like we have created this framework, and as the models increase their capabilities, and as the MCP servers get better, we don't make any change along while they're getting better, and we're benefiting from all these things. Yeah, and this is how we see the SRE role is evolving, where after all, one of the central ethos of SREs is reduce toil and automate everything that can be automated, right? And you can focus on more strategic things, on building and architecting more resilient systems. Yeah, and hopefully not having to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning for routine incidents. I was talking to a fellow SRE the other day on a conference, and he was telling me there's this incident. It happens always, and the only thing I do is I get up and restart the pod, and you don't even need an AI agent for this, right? You just need a simple automation for this. But hopefully these things will be a thing of the past. Yeah, embrace. I guess our message is we are aware that AI has a bad rep, and of course, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between what's the marketing buzz and what's real value. And also the fear of, not the fear, but not trusting the AI. And our message is embrace the AI augmented feature, and it's going to be human, not human or machines, but human and machines. Yeah, and if you have any feedback, we're looking for your feedback as well. So please approach us and talk to us. And if you like what you just saw, spread the word, start discussions with your team in your office, and maybe ask the question, how can we benefit from an agent? Even apart from iAlert, I think that's one question many companies are now asking themselves, how can we benefit from AI, and how can we improve our operations in all areas using AI? Thank you. 5 minutes over time. I think we're finishing it, then we leave questions for the coffee break, right?